The most scariest horror games in the world. These games will give you nightmares. Let's find out. Fear has intrigued humanity from the beginning of time. There is a natural thrill to being scared, which comes from cautionary tales and ghost stories. Although not everyone enjoys horror, when done correctly, the experience of being afraid may have a lasting and peculiarly pleasurable effect on a person, which is why people have created horror video games. For today's video, we are going to be talking about the scariest horror games in the world. So without further ado, let's dive right in. 6. The original Five Nights at Freddy's. First up on our list, we have the original Five Nights at Freddy's. Scott Cawthon is the creator of the independent video game Five Nights at Freddy's. Despite the brand having a large number of games, they have evolved to offer a more sophisticated experience. Incidentally, many people declared the first Five Nights at Freddy's game to be the scariest game ever when it first came out. The game was a success thanks to its intricate yet challenging narrative, eerie setting, and jump scares that made experienced gamers scream. Five Nights gave rise to a straightforward yet immersive survival horror genre, inspiring dozens of fan games and other independent games like the most current Poppy Playtime. 5. The Evil Within. Next up on our list, we have The Evil Within. The survival horror subgenre has been creatively expanded by The Evil Within. Following Detective Sebastian Castellano's narrative, Sebastian finds himself imprisoned in a nightmare following the reported murder of his daughter and the disappearance of his wife. While obtaining all the artifacts and papers is crucial to understanding the Evil Within's plot, there are instances when it can be difficult to follow. The terrifying experience of being imprisoned in the thoughts of a malicious power that only seeks to do you harm is explored in this game. By mind-melding victims together and observing its effects on the subjects, STEM, the device that takes people hooked to it into this nightmarish realm, is a fascinating portrayal of science gone wrong. 4. Until Dawn. The next game on our list is Until Dawn. Any fan of the genre ought to see Until Dawn. It has some of the greatest and most lifelike visuals ever created for a console when it was released in 2015. Yet the way Until Dawn dealt with the butterfly effect was what set it apart. Until Dawn advertises itself as a slasher narrative, where players are required to keep the whole characters alive, with the premise that one action, no matter how tiny, might influence the entire course of events throughout the game. It becomes evident that a supernatural power is at work as the plot develops. Each decision the players make has the potential to cause destruction, and there are several methods to murder each character. Until Dawn is unrelenting in its harshness, frequently penalizing players for choosing what seemed like the best course of action. 3. Resident Evil 7. Next up on our list, we have Resident Evil 7. The survival horror subgenre has been dominated by Resident Evil since its release in 1996. Although there are around 30 games in the series, it's difficult to pick just one as the scariest because so many of them will need players to keep their lights on. After a 5-year gap between the 6th and 7th main editions, Resident Evil eventually published Resident Evil 7 Biohazard in 2017. Fans had to endure the slow burn of Ethan Winters' quest to save his partner, Mia, from the psychotic, mutated Baker family as the game returned to its roots and put the players in a first-person perspective. After the disastrous Resident Evil 6, the brand was revitalized by giving it a new plot that was related to the main timeline through fan favorite Chris Redfield. 2. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. The next horror game on our list is Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Thomas Grip created the indie video game Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Even if someone hasn't played this little treasure, they've probably heard of it, and with good cause. While thinking of horrific games, The Dark Descent demonstrated that a survival horror game didn't require a huge budget to be horrific, like previous indie titles in the genre. The goal of the game is to survive and escape the monster-filled Brennenburg Castle. It is set in first-person view to truly give the player the impression that they are locked in a waking nightmare. The fear is increased by Daniel, the main character's limited recall of himself and his past, as suggested by the title. Anyway, this wraps up our video for today. What do you think about this? Let us know in the comments section down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel while you're at it.